Hi everybody, I'm Fluffy Geekstress and welcome to my channel. Today, as I promised you in my intro video, I'm going to be doing a comic book review for all of you guys of my all-time favorite comic and the comic that got me into comics. And that comic is Rat Queens. And in case you can't tell, I am head up on my tippy toes. I am wearing a Rat Queen t-shirt of Hannah from the comic, flipping all of you off in all her badassery. But I'll get into her more later. So, Rat Queens, this comic is the comic that again got me into comics. And this is just going to be pretty short review for all of you guys about this comic. So, this comic has been out for a while. I believe it is 16 issues. Three trade paperbacks, which is what I'm holding here. This comic is published by Image, and I'm a giant Image fan. You guys will see me do a lot of Image comics. I just love their style. At least a lot of the artists that are with Image, I love their style, their storytelling. Independents were pretty big. I think in the past years. I do read a little bit of DC and a tiny bit of Marvel. I am trying to increase my DC and Marvel readings, so I really encourage you guys to, in the comments, leave suggestions for your guys' favorite comics, and I'll do my best to read them and then maybe do a small review on them. So, to begin, Rat Queens is written by Kurtis Wiebe, and the author for about the first 7 issues is Rock Upchurch. And then there was an instance that happened that caused Kurtis Wiebe to let Rock Upchurch go. And then there were multiple artists after that. I bring that up because it's something about it is very dear to my heart and is a giant reason why I support Kurtis Wiebe and the comics he writes, because he does more than just Rat Queens. He has a couple other comics. I'll probably put in their names somewhere up here just because I don't read them. This is I only read 2 Kurtis Wiebe comics, this and another one called Bounty. But he has done some other really amazing comics that if you're interested after this review in Kurtis Wiebe, I would recommend you check them out. So the reason Kurtis Wiebe let Rock Upchurch go, and I will add before this that Rock Upchurch is an amazing artist. His art is the reason I think why so many people grab this stuff off the shelf as fast as they could. I mean, granted, it's also the amazing story because Kurtis Wiebe is a giant geek. He loves D&D. He is very much a fantastic writer. I guess I should add that Kurtis Wiebe is very much a supporter of women, the LGBTQ community, and pretty much equal rights for everyone. And so the reason Rock Upchurch was removed as the artist for Rat Queens, there came out a story that Rock Upchurch had hit his wife. And after that, Kurtis Wiebe removed him as his artist, which could break him. I think it was probably a very big decision because Rock Upchurch is a very, very talented artist. But Kurtis Wiebe stood by his morals of, that you shouldn't hit women, you should respect everyone, such like that. That really was a great message to me regarding Kurtis Wiebe and the morals he stands by, and encouraged me to read more of his stuff because he is a fantastic human being. Kurtis Wiebe really is, and granted, I hope Rock Upchurch, because he's a very talented artist, learns from his mistakes, but there was a very good reason as to why, and he was dropped as the artist. And as much as I'm sure it was hard on Kurtis Wiebe and trying to make this comic, profitable, I stand by his decision to do that because it was the right decision. Granted, I'm also a girl, so I'm sure people may not agree with me, but I really do think Kurtis Wiebe is a fantastic human being, and the issues he stands against, or for, excuse me. So that is the reason why Rat Queens kind of, I think, lost a little bit of traction for people because of there were then other artists brought in and the style changed a little bit. But the story will keep you invested. And this story is about four amazingly awesome women. We have Hannah, who again is on my shirt. Violet, Dee, and Betty. I'll do like a close-up on all of them for you guys. And these are the four women that they are. The story is kind of like an adventure fantasy story. So Hannah, the kind of main character, is an elf. Violet is a dwarf. Dee is a she uses magic. She's a healer, and Violet, or excuse me, Betty. Excuse me, Betty is. They call them smidgens. I think they're smaller than hobbits. I think. So she's kind of hobbit-like, but they're called smidgens in the story. And you can find pretty much all the characters that you would usually find in a D&D setting in this comic. So you have Hannah, who is like the badass. She's a mage. So she doesn't like your standard go out and fight type person. She uses magic, but she is like tell you how it is, doesn't give a shit what you think about her, like she does whatever she wants, and she is such a strong character and has such an interesting backstory. Like she is very much a very popular character. And when I went to Emerald City Comic Con, which I have another story regarding that, I saw a whole bunch of Hannah cosplays. She's a very, very, very popular cosplay when this comic first came out, because she's just so badass. She's awesome. The next character who she's not really a lead character, but she's just as strong a personality as Hannah, is Violet. And Violet is, again, a dwarf, and she is like your tank class. She is in full armor at the front of the lines, ready to take on whoever it is she's fighting. She is awesome. I love Hannah, and I hope to cosplay her at some point. And then to also build a cosplay of Orc Dave for my husband, which if any of you guys read this comic, you will understand. I love Orc Dave. Oh, I'm so smitten over him. Anyways, so Violet is the dwarf tank. Dee uses magic as well, and she is a healer. And Dee is like the quiet kid in the group. Dee is like the antisocial person amongst the group of the Rat Queens, and she's the person that is, as all the other three are partying, drinking, and having sex, like Dee is the person, in the corner just wanting to read her book, and even though she gets a pretty good backstory too, in the 3 volumes for this comic. I almost wish to see more of it, and I think so. Kurtis Wiebe is doing more, putting out more Rat Queens, but it's diverging from where this series ended. So, like, if you were to read all 16 comics, it's not really going to be a continuation. It's going a different direction than where this comic ended. So I'm really hoping that within that comic we'll see more of a backstory for Dee and Betty, because Dee and Betty, and even like Hannah, could have more of a backstory. Actually, Betty barely got a backstory, and Betty was my favorite. I cosplay Betty. I have a cosplay of Betty. And Betty is a smidgen. She is the stealth. She is the assassin type. She sneaks around you and, stabs you in the dark before you even know she's there. And I love Betty because Betty is a beer loving or alcohol drinking, drug taking. Yeah, just because I cosplayed her doesn't mean I do drugs. But she loves her drugs, and she loves her candy. And I love candy. In case you can't tell, I'm a fat kid. I love candy. And so does Betty. So Betty was the first cosplay I ever built. Granted, I look nothing like Betty. I just cosplayed her because I loved her. Like, it is so easy in this comic to find one of the characters that you can relate to. You know, you can be like, oh man, you know, I'm so much like Dee. I hate parties and I love to read books. Or, you know, you can say you're like Hannah, or you're just fucking tough as nails and like, you don't give a shit what anyone thinks about you. You know, it is very, very easy to relate to these four characters. And the adventures they go on, the awesome one-liners in this comic book. As much as it seems like a comic book for women, I will also add that you probably shouldn't be over the age of like 15. If you're, I don't know, we'll just say 18 because I don't have kids, so I don't know how this works. But if you're like under the age of 18, you should get your parents okay before you read this, because there is nakedness and cussing in this. So yeah, get your parents okay before you read this. But like I was saying, it may seem like a comic just for women, but men would enjoy this comic just as much. It isn't just for women. The story anyone can relate to, and I'm attempting not to give spoilers because there's some really awesome moments in these comics, and so many things to relate to. I really encourage people to check this out. It'll make you laugh. It will make you cry, and like all the feels. And you know, I also would like to say again of how amazing it was to meet Kurtis Wiebe. He is a fantastic human being in my opinion. As much as I've only met him once, and I'll do a little side note here of when I met him. So I went to Emerald City Comic Con, I believe 2 years ago. And again, I went dressed as Betty. And when I went, I had seen that Kurtis Wiebe was going to be there signing. And so I'd taken like all my comics, like super excited to like have him sign my comics and to meet him because I was so in love with this comic book. And like I totally fangirled out when like I met him. Like there wasn't even a line to like I had to wait in. He was just sitting at a table signing. And I was so excited. I'm sure I turned like 12 shades of pink and like I couldn't get my words to come out right because when I get nervous, like talking and just disappears. Like I can't make sentences. My sentences don't make sense as I'm trying to say that. So I stood there and I got him to sign a bunch, like all the comics that I'd brought. And he was super sweet, the nicest guy. I believe even his wife and I think his like 1-year-old kid was there with him, but they weren't at the table, so I didn't meet them at the time. But he was so sweet, and I was so nervous. Like I forgot my entire point, like going up to that table was to purchase the new trade paperback I think that was available and have him sign it. And so I left and I was like so excited. I was like shaking, and then I had to realize I had to like really meekly go back and be like, hey, so I was so excited to meet you. I forgot to buy the trade paperback and have you sign it. He was so nice and so sweet. He also, so this is a comic of Betty, and he gave me a personalized message on the front of this comic. I loved it so much, and I know that like people collect comics to sell them will be like, oh man, that comic's worth no money now because it has a personalized message to you on it. I didn't care in the slightest. I was so happy to have Kurtis Wiebe give me a personalized message. I'm not sure if you can read it. It says drugs and candy, only because that's what Betty loves. But yeah, so I had an amazing time meeting Kurtis Wiebe. I also have so many awesome memories from reading this amazing comic. At first I was sad because I thought they were ending it, but I found out a couple months, like 5 months ago probably, that they were continuing on. I believe I saw on Kurtis Wiebe's Twitter, because I follow him, that they just got in the new printing for the new take on Rat Queens with another new artist. And it looks really great. I'm really excited to read it. So again, I encourage all of you to go out, check out Rat Queens. This is such a great comic to get into and to enjoy. And plus they have more comics coming out. So you won't get to comic 16 and be like, what? No! There's no more comics! There is more. And again, come back. This is kind of the end of all I have for Rat Queens. I love them more than anything. I love the story, I love the characters, and I feel like you guys will enjoy them too. So please check them out. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you don't like it, feel free to hit the dislike button. Also, feel free to subscribe just so you can get notifications of when I put out my videos. I attempt to put them out every Tuesday. I'm not quite on a concrete schedule yet, but I will attempt to do one every week. I'll be doing anime reviews, comic reviews, and some gaming stuff. So come back and see me again, and hope you guys have an amazing day.